Hey y'all, Coach Inthefight here, coming out of the Keys of Enoch, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about the Xoikoi, the Psychekoi, and the Pneumatikoi. What we're going to do, our willing, is we're going to go through this text, looking at the times in which they are used, and get an understanding of who they actually are. We've talked about them a little in the previous videos, but in this one, we want to try to hone down on the definition. So anyway, let's get started. Now, the first one we're going to look at is the Pneumatikoi. The first time that we see Pneumatikoi used in the text is in Key 106, verse 11, which says that the Pneumatikoi, the spiritual powers of Christ. So now if we were taking notes, we would write this down, that the Pneumatikoi are the spiritual powers of Christ. That's about how we're going to do this. We're just going to look at what the text says. The second time we see it, the word Pneumatikoi in the same chapter is in verse 29, where it says that the Pneumatikoi are the few who are chosen to work with the lords of light. Okay, these are talking about, you see down there, it mentions people like Michael, Metatron, Melchizedek, or the 144,000. So it's saying that these Pneumatikoi are also people, these particular ones being chosen. Now, in the same chapter, we see verse 37, which says that the Pneumatikoi are the spiritual people of the Christ race. Again, if we were taking notes, we would write that down. Like we said in the other verse, that these are people, but these are the spiritual people. Then the last time we see this word Pneumatikoi is down in the index. It's kind of strange how it says it here. Pneumatikoi Greek, it says the spectral adepts of Mushu, which when I first read that, I thought Moses, because it seems like a lot of people call him by his Hebrew name. But if you got any understanding on that, please include it in the comment section. But we did want to be exhaustive on the words, so we had to put that one in there. But that is the Pneumatikoi. So these are the chosen people, spiritual, Christ race, chosen to work with the brotherhood of light. I think sums it up. But if you guys can sum it up better again, join us in the comment section. We're going to go to the next word. Now, the next one we want to talk about is the Xoikoi. These are the clay people who represent the lowest manifestations of humanity, who are simply interested in the things of the flesh and the physical shell of life, devoid of the Spirit of God and the wisdom of His kingdom. Now, this was all of us at one point. Many of us still will find out. Like when we look at it in Key 106, verse 11, it says that the Xoikoi are the physical spectrum of the many who are called. So that is all of us. All of us have a calling on our life, whether we know about this higher-minded stuff or not. We still have this calling, so we all are born as Xoikois. But when we look further down in that verse, for the word Xoikoi, it's talking about this other group, the Psychekoi. So let's come back to them, because that'll be a part of the discussion on who the Psychekoi are. But looking in verse 27 of that same chapter, we said that the Xoikoi are the clay people who have the ability to evolve, but are largely governed by the fallen chemistry of this physical universe, oblivious to the higher orders of star evolution. So, like I said, this is the majority of us, oblivious to anything that's going on up in the celestials. and how they're used for communication and all of that. We wasn't aware of it at all. But again, look back at verse 11 when it's talking about these Xoikoi. It mentions the Psychekoi, who are the rational minds who derive their mental energy from the lower heavens and call power unto themselves. It says that they prevent the Xoikoi from receiving the spiritual gnosis of the Pneumatikoi. So when you think about this here, like we say, all of us are born as Xoikois, ignorant of this spiritual information and all of this gnosis. But we are called to this light, called to this understanding. And so once we receive this calling, we become what's known as a Pneumatikoi, helping to shine this light on others, but standing in the way, there are these Psychekoi, who it says are deriving their mental energy from the lower heavens and call power unto themselves. So we're understanding who these Psychekoi are now, standing between. We see here that they have power. They call power unto themselves, but they're deriving this mental energy from the lower heavens, not necessarily the ones we read about at the beginning of the verse, Kizzle and Kimmel, which emanates the gnosis or the knowledge which creates the Pneumatikoi. They're getting this gnosis or their knowledge from the lower heavens. So let's look at them. It says that the Psychekoi, or the rational minds, still engaged with the blueprints of geometry in the physical ordering of the universe and in the biological structures of the psyche. Thinkers who have not the fruits of wisdom. Thinkers who are lost in the consciousness zones between the intellect and the sovereign soul, so that the transition in all of the many universes is never completely made between the 6th and 7th chakra levels of the mind, neutralizing whatever opportunity there is for direct contact with higher intelligence. So it sounds a lot like these people are actually too smart for this gnosis. Like it says there are thinkers, rational minds, intellects nonetheless, but they are lacking wisdom and could have a suppressed conscious or something like that. Now notice that part it talks about that this transition is never completely made manifest, talking about between the 6th and 7th chakra level. That's actually talking about the pole shift, but we'll cover that more in other videos. Father Willer. Now, the other time we see the Psychekoi, back there in 106, when right after we saw it in verse 27, we see them described in verse 28. It says, the Psychekoi, the rational people who serve the mathematics of the circumpolar areas of the Little Dipper and the Big Dipper, and think of the gods only as mythological manifestations of the Mazzaroth, the 12 signs of the zodiac. So like we said, these are rational minds. These are rational-minded people. These are thinkers. But it says that they're serving the mathematics of the circumpolar areas of the Little Dipper and the Big Dipper, which means that this is the source of the gnosis. They're getting this light from the Bear and the Dragon constellations. So there you have it. You have the Xoikoi, which, like you said, we're the common man until they actually receive this gnosis, actually accept this calling to become Pneumatikoi and help spread this knowledge. But standing between, you have the Psychekoi. So if you got anything out of this video, hit the like button. If you didn't, hit the dislike button. But leave us a comment, and in that comment, share what you got out of this. we're not claiming to be experts in this subject at all. This is an open table discussion, so if you have something to add, please include it below, and I'll see you there. Shalom.